All right. We are back for day 3 of our Create Your Own Reality Clinic. So I will give everyone a moment to hop on. Let me know how you are liking it, what ahas you have had. Anybody have any big ahas? All of a sudden, creating your reality is making a little more sense as to maybe why the affirmations and just focusing on what you want isn't actually working fully for you, that you have this other stuff that needs to be worked with and cleared out and dealt with. All right, say hello. Let me know you can see me and hear me. I'm hoping you can, but I don't know. Nobody has said anything yet. Okay, hello. Okay, so we are here, we are live, and we're ready to go. So, all right, you guys can hear me. I'm here. Just wanted to make sure. We're rolling. All right, here we go for our beautiful, beautiful day 3. So yeah, let me know, guys. How's it going? How is the event going? Are you enjoying it? Are you getting aha moments from it? What's happening? Are you liking it? Tell me all the things. Talk to me. If not, I'll just keep talking. That's fine too. So we have gone through day 1 and day 2. Day 1, we really kind of talked about the overview of everything. We talked about the overview of how creating your reality actually works. That we ask for something that we want. Hello, universe, can I please have $10,000? And the universe is like, yes. Because remember, one of those first things we talked about is the universe always says yes. And you're the leader of this show. You're co-creating, but you're the leader. You're in charge. You ask, you receive. You ask, you receive, period. So it's all created here. It's here for you. And it was funny because I was talking to Melissa, our CEO, earlier today, and she was telling me about somebody who had just joined our membership recently. And they were saying like, oh my God, like affirmations that I have been doing for years, like years ago, within a couple weeks of doing this work, all of a sudden they're starting to come true. And it's because the affirmation piece, the ask, the focus on the desire isn't wrong. It's just like a further down step. And if we're not doing all these other steps, this step isn't going to exactly work. But when you start doing these other steps, all of a sudden, ba-boom, everything starts to come together and work. It's really, really amazing. So we asked the universe, we want it. Give us $10,000. The universe is like, yes. Oh my God. I would love to create that with you. Let's go. But then all of a sudden, all this stuff you don't want starts showing up. And you're like, wait a second. I'm confused. I asked, you told me I get it and it's here, but yet what I'm seeing is all the other stuff I don't want. Well, that's because what you're being shown is all the deep belief systems that are not in alignment with what you actually want. It's very clearly displaying for you the gap. There is a gap that needs to be dealt with. There's a bunch of beliefs and all this. And this goes far past your brain to your nervous system and to that deep DNA set point. Your deep DNA set points. This can be handed down to you from ancestors. And so some of this can be kind of confusing because you're like, well, I don't believe this. Why is this happening? Like it can be handed down. If you have a long lineage of ancestors that grew up poor, then you believe poor often is safe. That feels safe to your nervous system. That feels safe. If you grew up in an environment where, speaking out against the people of power got you killed, well, it's going to be really hard for you to be confident and step out and feel good about yourself because it's already written in your DNA to just stay quiet. Right? And so it's in there. So you can focus on all you want, on everything you want. And in in your world, your reality is going to keep showing you the stuff that's not in alignment with what you want. So, as we talked in day one, what's the first step we take? We got to look at our current reality. We got to sit back and say, okay, what is happening in our current reality? What's happening here? What's working? What parts of my current reality do I like? What parts of my current reality do I not like? And what do I need to shift here? Ooh, hello from the ocean. I love it. Okay, so what parts are we needing to shift here? And then we have to start really looking at the origin story of these things we want to change. Because that's the other thing we often miss in this work. You know, you hear a lot about, oh, just become aware of your patterns. Most of you are likely aware of your patterns. You're likely aware of the things you often do that you don't want to keep doing that are not getting you the things you want. But how do we change that? Awareness is fantastic, but most of us are looking to how do we actually shift that? How do we actually change that? And that's where we have to really get to the origin story. What is it about that thing is making us feel safe? What about that thing is making us continue to do it? That's what we need to get to. And that's what this process that we're going to talk about today, the rapid relief technique, helps us get to. And one of the greatest ways we talked about on day one was looking at your judgments. Your judgments will often show you the things, the origin stories. And we talked yesterday about how those judgments get created, right? You're out there trying to be yourself. Someone makes you feel icky about it. You push down the emotion around it and then change who you are. You change who you are. The biggest thing we do as humans in this world is we abandon ourselves so that we don't get abandoned by others. Number one thing we do that just messes us up bad. We are so worried about people loving us and liking us and not leaving us that we abandoned who we are fully so that they like us. And in doing that, we continue to create that gap, that unfulfilled gap, because other people don't fill us up. We think they do, but they don't. They're like the decorations on the cake. You're the cake, you're the icing, your love and connection with yourself, your self-love. And when I mean self-love, I don't mean like getting a pedicure. I mean like your unbelievable love of who you are fully. Every part of you, the part that cries, the part that farts, the part that gets rage out angry when you shouldn't, the part that does all these things when you fully love, or the person that talks too much. Like this world tries to keep us in these tiny little boxes, right? This tiny little box of how we should look, how we should act, what. And when we come out of that box, people are like, oh, you're out of the box. I don't know how to deal with you. And we end up being, oh, well, you know, you talk too much. You're too confronting. You're too this. You're too that. You're da, 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 da. And so we try to stay in that box. And the interesting part is so many of us don't even want to believe we're in that box. Like we think, or we move to a different box, right? We get out of this box that says we're supposed to be this, this, and this, just to move into this other box. It's like, well, I'm a powerful woman and like, you know, everybody can go screw themselves, da, 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 da. So now we've made our new community. We basically jump from like little communities to little communities to little communities, right? And not that community is not bad. Not that personal connection and having people in your life is bad. The problem is when you're using that to make yourself feel whole, it's not good. And that's what most of us are doing. And then we're wondering why we can't create the lives we love. Well, we don't even know who we are. We don't even know who we are, what we want. When I said on day one, tell me what you want. Half of you were like, oh, God, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. And you wonder why so many of us have that feeling. Like how many of you just have that feeling of feeling kind of like stuck and unsatisfied? It's not that life's like bad. It's not like you're like, and some of you might be, because don't get me wrong, we have people in our membership that come from all freaking walks of life. And we have people that show up for our free stuff in all walks of life. So I'm going to say this, but it doesn't mean that that's not you. But most of you are not like in Afghanistan in war territory, like surviving for your life. Now, like I said, some of you may be, because we do get those people and we do help them change their lives. But a lot of you are just feeling in the sense of like, I I feel like this life should be better. And that was very much how I felt. Like I was like, this is it. Like going through the mundane of it, where like I wanted, kind of like Angela said, I wanted everything. I wanted to experience this life to its fullest. I wanted to just have this full, rich life of people, of love, of money, of material things, of all the things. And I truly believe that that's what most of us are wanting. We came here to have an experience of a lifetime. And most of us aren't getting the experience of a lifetime. Most of us have kind of gotten stuck in this like mundane, this is how my life should look feeling. And it's not like it's bad, but it's not what you wanted. And a lot of you might feel kind of like almost wrong about admitting that. Because again, it's not that it's bad, but you want more. And that's okay to want more. It's okay to want more. It's okay to want something different. But in order to do that, the first thing we have to do is we have to look at our reality and we have to look at what we want. Now, one of the things in our membership that we do is we really help you start to figure out what you want. We really help you come back to you, not the you the world has told you to be, but the you that you truly are meant to be. Because once you're that person and you drop into your power, you're like, oh, yes. Oh, yes. So we have to look at our reality because we've asked. Remember, we asked the universe for that $10,000. Universe, give me the $10,000. Universe was like, yes, 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 or whatever it is that you want, right? Universe is like, you got it, create it. And then you're like, but where? Meanwhile, all this other stuff that you don't want is happening. And you're like, I'm so confused right now. I proclaimed what I wanted. You said that I get it, but all this other stuff is. So we got to go look at that. We got to go look at that. Remember, that's our first two things. We got to look at our reality and we got to know. Actually, it's almost kind of opposite. You almost got to ask for what you want and then look at your current reality. Ask for what you want, look at the current reality. What's the current reality showing you? The current reality is showing you the things incongruent to what you want. And this is where I gave you the task to write down what works, what doesn't, and what needs to shift. And I love it. We already have Angela saying she recommends everyone join the membership. It's good, you guys. It's good. And I'm going to talk about it in a little bit. But first, I want to get you the deets of the rapid relief technique, how it works so that you can start doing it and trying it and really using it to make your reality what you want it to be. So now the issue is, and we talked about this yesterday, is we got to biohack that DNA. And there's a lot of talk these days now about the nervous system. And I actually just saw a thing today on Instagram where somebody was saying, oh my God, I saw this mom dropping her kid off at school and the kid started to cry and the mom started to cry too. And she said, I was just walking away and I felt the mirroring of my nervous system. I felt my nervous system mirroring that mom. So I felt all these emotions. And she was saying like, does your nervous system mirror other people's emotions? And I wanted to drop in there and be like, your nervous system isn't mirroring these emotions. You are having an emotional reaction to this because there's something there. There's something there. Because really, guys, the more I have done this work, it is fascinating to me how ridiculous, crazy things can happen now in the world, or I can see them, and it doesn't affect me like it once did. There were times where it did, like just had the total emotional response over it. And we'd say that's human, right? But I don't actually think it is. I think that when we have big emotional responses, there's two things happening. It's either a trigger that is literally there because there is something here that needs to be removed so we can get what we want. Remember how we talked yesterday? We ask for what we want, but it's not, we have this whole other, our nervous system and our DNA is not incongruent with it. And so when those emotions show up, they're showing us that there's something here because remember guys, we create our realities not with our thoughts. We create our realities with our feelings. With our feelings. If we can't believe it and feel it, it ain't coming. And I guarantee you there's plenty of you that have dreams and desires that you want, but when it comes to actually feeling into them being possible for you, It's not quite there. Or it might be half there, but there's still something there. So we got to be fully on board with feeling it. And often we can't because there's another feeling in there. It's reinforcing those neuropeptides, not letting it happen, not letting our brains be able to see the opportunities and our nervous system to feel safe to go after the opportunities or to do whatever it is, to see whatever it is to see and to do whatever we need to do to make it work for us. It's often running the show in the opposite way. We're wanting to see something, but we're not seeing it, or we're seeing it, but we're self-sabotaging it because our nervous system and our DNA is overriding the action that we actually want to take to try and keep us, quote, safe. And so when emotions get triggered, it is an indication. And remember, this is our next step in this, using what's happening in our life to get rid of the stuff, to get rid of the stuff standing in our way. And so when an emotion happens, you want to pay attention. Now, as you do this work more, and this is kind of a hard one to explain to you guys, those of you that have been in this, I'm actually going to add a module of this into our flagship course, The Foundation, which is in our membership, because sometimes, and if you haven't, crazy hair, and if you haven't done this work a lot, I can't get this to work. I want like little volume, but not a weird bubble. Okay, we got it. But if you haven't done this work a lot, it might be like you have to kind of do it a little bit to understand this part, but still pay attention to this, because as you do this work more and you start to get more used to your emotions, what you have to look at sometimes is it a trigger or is it a trauma response? Because sometimes our emotions are triggers. They're really showing us that there's a deeper layer. Because remember, if you don't get to the origin story of the emotion, you're never going to change that nervous system and that DNA. If you don't get to the origin story, you're going to keep having emotions. So this is kind of like, if your spouse is always yelling at you or your kid is always doing something and you're wanting to change your reaction and you're having the emotion, but it still seems to keep happening and keep happening and keep happening, we're not getting to the origin story. Kind of like I talked about yesterday, where my husband had said something like not so nice to me, and I excused myself and went and used the rapid relief technique. And what was at the core of that was don't dismiss me. And it actually came from my childhood. Had I not gotten to the core of this, I would have cried about it and then gone back, and a couple of days later, it would have happened again, or it would have happened with somebody else, or it would have happened in a different way. We love to just like boundary up our world. I'm never talking to that person again. I'm putting boundaries over here. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. When we often then lose some of our best evolution moments. And furthermore, they show up in different ways. You might leave the place you're working at just to end up going to date somebody that's going to trigger you in the same way. Do you ever notice that? How it's like, it just keeps following you around. I noticed it with my husband. He has a big one that like nobody ever listens to me. And I remember like, it was like the biggest deal at work. Nobody ever listens to me. Nobody ever listens to me. And it was like, finally, he just like got rid of those people that didn't listen to him. And then all of a sudden it was like, now the kids don't listen to me. And it's like, then he finally got the kids listening. And then all of a sudden became me. I never listened to him. And finally I was like, dude, this is not me. This is not them. This is not this. You feel unheard. And that probably comes from when you were a tiny little kid that had a whole lot to say and you got shut down. You need to go back there. You need to go back there. And then once you go back there and you resolve that and you fully feel it and express it out, then everything changes. How do we figure out if it's a trigger or or if it's a trauma response? So first and foremost, when the emotion first comes up, we want to go explore it, Claire. And I'm going to show you how to do this. When we get to the rapid relief technique, I'm going to show you how to do this. When you get to the origin story, when you feel like, and those of you who are on here, who have been in our membership and done this work for a while, you'll know what I'm talking about. You often know when you've really dealt with the emotion around it. Like you can feel like, I have dealt with the emotion around this. Why does this keep showing up in my reality? And why am I still having a response to it? Like, it's like you often know, like you feel like, why is this still here? Like I have gone to the depths with this. I have felt it all. And so usually for me, I will explore it a little bit. Like I might go into it a little bit more and see if nothing else comes up. Nothing new comes up. And if nothing new comes up, this is where I often am in the middle of literally like going through this. And I'm like, wait a second, this is a trauma response. This is a trauma response. This is just my body responds this way. And so I've gotten to the core of this. Now my body is just doing this. And so then, and we're going to talk about this after I teach you the rapid relief technique, then we need to create safety with the nervous system with a new recoding and repatterning. And then we need to go do a different action. We need to go do a different action. We need a different action that's going to change that, reinforce it. And that's where a lot of people in the create your own reality manifesting world, they miss this step too. It's like, I'm just going to sit on my pillow at home and I'm just going to believe everything and then it will come to me. Well, not if you don't go out into the physical world, because this is a physical world and we are manifesting and creating in the physical world. So you need to go do something physical. And so this is often where, when we realize it's a trauma response, we need to treat it differently. I'll give you an example. With my husband, for example, I had a long history with parents and other partners where, and it started with my parents, where they would yell at me or have a huge reaction. And I was very emotional. I would just like scurry away and like go cry by myself, get over it, and then never really talk about it or do anything. Like that's kind of just how my family worked. And so my husband, we very much trauma triggered each other, right? He very much had this nobody listens to me, nobody sees me, like kind of thing. He dismisses me, like all of these things. And I had this too. So he would have the same kind of reaction my parents would, and I would just like scurry away. And this even happened even as I was doing this work. I would, kind of go, I do the rapid relief technique, which we're going to get to in a second here. And I would clear it. And then I would just kind of go on with my day. I wouldn't talk about it with him or anything like that. And it was kind of just this pattern we were in. And finally, eventually I was like, wait a second, like I've dealt with this. Like I've gotten to the core of these emotions that he's reflecting. Because it was always the same thing. I'm not good enough. No matter what I do, I will never be a good enough person for you. Stop dismissing me. And I was like, I'm just going in loops here. And so then what I had to do is I had to start reprogramming my nervous system to be like, no, it's safe to speak what I want to speak. People don't dismiss me. I am heard. I am seen. I am loved. I am like, it is safe to speak my truth. It is safe to stand up for myself. And so once I created that safety, then the next time it happened, I was able to say, hold up, time out, dude. I want you to see what's happening here. And I was able to literally show him the trauma trigger and trauma response that we were both having, and to have us both work through it, and to have us be able to call each other out on it. So now it's really interesting, because now if it does happen, we're both able to be like, hold up. Don't talk to me like that. Remember? That's You are projecting right now your feelings of being unheard and dismissed. I'm not doing that. And so I was finally able to really have the uncomfortable conversation and address the issue so that it stopped. And so I hope that kind of clears it up. You'll know as you do this work more, you'll know, because like I said, you'll feel like you're stuck in a loop or a circle. And that's when you want to say, wait a second. Is this a trigger? Am I actually evolving here, or am I just trauma responding and I actually need to be acting different in this moment? There's actually an action that needs to happen so that I can fully like close this circle and this loop and fully evolve past it. And we go into, if you guys are kind of like, what? We go into a lot more details in this in the membership. Like I said, this is, our free event. I'm giving you as much as I can in these short little things, but the full technique and all of this information is really broken down for you much more in detail in our membership, with lots of support and all of that good stuff. So you can really get it good, get it easier, transform a lot faster, get what you want a lot faster, all that good stuff. Okay, so let's talk about the rapid relief technique. My favorite thing in the whole wide world. So we've declared to the universe what we want. The universe has said yes. And then the universe has shown us a bunch of stuff we don't want. And then we are to use that step of using what's happening in life to remove the obstacles so we can actually receive what we want. This is where I came across, I shouldn't say I came across, I really discovered this because I was an EFT practitioner. So normal tapping, EFT, right? And if you've never done tapping before, we do it very differently. So stay tuned. If you're somebody who loves tapping, you are going to love our style of it even more. If you're someone who doesn't like traditional tapping, stay tuned because almost all people who don't like traditional tapping like it. And if you're someone who has no idea what I'm talking about, just keep listening. So tapping does a couple different things. And what you do is you tap lightly, moderate pressure on different points of your face. You're actually tapping on meridian points. And these meridian points are kind of like energetic arteries and veins of your body. And they get clogged. When you have an emotion that you don't fully feel, it clogs these meridians so that they don't flow. And based on where you have illnesses and sicknesses and stuck muscles and stuff like that are often where you're holding stuck emotions in your meridians. And this sends a vibrational signal down into those meridians and kind of shakes them up. So it starts to move stuff. Now, what you do with this is you combine it with what you really want to say based on what's happening in your current reality. So this isn't trying to figure out what the core is. I still don't like tapping. I have so much resistance to tap. My body just doesn't want to be tapped. And it might not. If this doesn't work for you, this doesn't work for you. If there's a different way to get to the core of your emotions, then get to the core of your emotions. But I also think sometimes we're very resistant to do this because there's a lot in there that need to come out. Or you may even want to look into the fact that why don't you like your body to be touched and stuff like that? Like sometimes there's bigger things down. Like I remember I used to hate to be touched by other people. And I remember at one point just being like, you know what? Maybe that's just who I am. Maybe I just don't like being touched by other people. But like I really wanted to be touched by other people. Like I wanted that. And so Anna, you kind of got to ask yourself, like, do I really want this to work for me? Because if you do, but like you're saying, like, I don't like my body doesn't like it, it's likely something deeper because I really had to go deep with my whole no touch thing. There was a lot of layers there and it took me a while to get through them all to really then be okay with people hugging me and touching me and just being close to me. There was a lot of trauma in my body that really made me feel this. So you kind of just have to explore and see, you know, what works for you and what doesn't. But anyways, it's tapping like this. And then we're going to say what we really, I know Melissa did too. You hated it in the beginning. She's like, I hate this. This is so stupid. I have a lot of people that start off, this is stupid. I had a client I worked with, a CEO for a big company. I worked with him privately. And he was like, this is so dumb. I feel like a monkey. Like, I feel like I'm like this weird little monkey tapping. Like, this is dumb. And eventually, like, it took a while, months, till he was like, okay, I get it. This is working. My husband hated it at first too. He thought it was so stupid. He used to make me tap on him because he was like, this is stupid. And then eventually you have that first big breakthrough and you're like, holy moly, this is amazing. And interestingly, in our membership, we have some things to start you off with really working through the resistance to this because it's not uncommon. So anyways, we tap and then we say the things that are we really want to say. And this is where it can sometimes be hard for us. Like often we really want to say some things and we hold back because the world doesn't say that we can just say what we want. And I want you guys to understand that our emotions, and I think I said this earlier in the thing, our emotions are 98% for us, not for other people. Not for other people. They are for us to learn and grow with. And the world just doesn't know this at this point. Like we try to run away from our emotions, or like when you look at like what emotional intelligence teaches, it basically teaches you how to control your emotions, like how to be aware of it, snap it up and stop it before it like happens. Like emotions aren't bad, but like don't let them control you. And yes, that's true in the sense of like when you're like out in the world. But at the end of the day, we actually do need to let ourselves be overtaken by our emotions because that's actually how we release them and how we learn and evolve. It's just we don't need to do it with other people and, you know, online and screaming at all these people. It's like we need to take the time to do it behind closed doors with ourselves. We tend to think when there's real big emotion that it's warranted to go out. I often do this little funny thing that I used to do in one of our events where I would be like, it's like when you wake up and you're like just annoyed. Like you wake up in the morning and you just feel off. But like there's nothing for you to feel off about. So like there's no emotions warranted. Like you shouldn't go get mad at somebody over there or there because like really like there's nothing for you to be mad about. You just feel like meh. And so what do? This is what we usually do. We scanning. Where could I unload my emotions? Scanning. Ding, 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 ding. My son did not take out the garbage last night. Locked. Unload. Blah. And then all of our emotions can come out. They can come out on this person because now we feel like there's a valid situation. There's a valid reason. So when you look at our world right now, you guys, we have an entire world full of people who have not been taught how to deal with their emotions. They have not been taught how to deal with their emotions. They've been taught how to stuff their emotions down. And so then you wonder why we have all these angry people just vomiting everywhere, right? And all these things. And personally, like I said, guys, we create it all. We create our lives and we create collectively. And so you wonder why we're all creating all of this bullshit in our world as a collective. Well, because we need something to get our emotions out on. We need something that we can yell about and rally around and vomit all of this out because we need to get it out to some degree. But the problem is we're never getting to the origin of it. We're never getting to the deep layers, the stuff that actually helps us evolve and feel differently and create something differently. We're using the surface layer stuff. You got to use the surface layer stuff to get deeper. And this is where the rapid relief technique comes in. So let's say you're driving down the street and somebody cuts you off. I see this all the time. The road rage out in the world right now is unreal, people. Like when I like to see people and like, you'll like it just amazes me sometimes where you just like go into another lane to like go over here. And it's like, you didn't cut the person off. You just like went in front of them and they like speed by you, flicking you off, being like, and you're like, that definitely was not warranted. Well, that person's got a lot of emotions going on. Now, if you're driving down the road and someone gets in front of you and you feel that, you're like, oh my fucking, use it. Not at them, use it. And how do you use it? You start tapping and you start saying exactly what you want to say. Oh my God, this stupid person. Who do they think they are? Who do they think they are just coming and cutting in front of me like that? Like, just whatever. Like, that's just bullshit. Why do people not see me? And then you'll often hear yourself say a line like that. Why does no one ever see me? Why does no one ever see me? And then the tears start flowing. You're like, why does nobody ever see me? Why does nobody ever see me? Nobody ever sees me. And then all of a sudden you start having these memories of like, oh yeah, this and this. And then all of a sudden you're like, yes. And you're feeling it and you're expressing it. Remember, guys, you cannot create a different feeling around something until you feel the old feeling. So if you're wanting to feel and be seen and heard, but you have all these emotions inside of you that are feeling unseen and unheard, you have to feel them fully, express them out before you can create anything different. And remember, we create from our feelings. And so if you're feeling deep down inside that you're unseen and unheard, you're going to keep creating scenarios of unheard unseenness. Even though you're like, here's when I feel unseen and heard. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do the action. And you're doing the actions, but it's falling short. Well, because we can't create a different feeling around something until we clear out the old bullshit. And this is where the rapid relief comes in. So here you are finally able to get to the core of this, which is nobody sees me, nobody hears me. Then it's some remembrance of when you were 7 years old and like, your mom told you to shut up and sit down. And now you're able to say what you really wanted to say to your mom. Don't say that to me. Why did you say that to me? That made me feel bad. Now, all of a sudden, you're able to get it out. It doesn't mean you call your mom up and you're like, hey, mom, remember that time when I was 7 years old and you told me to shut up? Fuck you. Right? Like, that's not what we're doing. You are using these experiences because back then as a child, that was meant as an evolutionary moment for you as well. Just nobody had taught you that you needed to go through the full emotion. Nobody let you have the full temper tantrum so that you could be like, oh, I feel better. I still get to be seen and heard. My mom's just having a moment. Nobody taught you that. And so you've been carrying this bag of rocks around with you, just chucking them at other people instead of actually pulling them out, examining them and being like, oh, so that eventually you could take the backpack off, it's empty, and things start to work out for you. And so that's how the rapid relief technique, it's very easy in theory. It's very easy in theory, right? You know, it's like I didn't have a emotional response with the whole YouTube thing that happened yesterday where like I went to go live and it like did this and like wasn't letting me go and then closed down. But should I, if I would have, I would have gone into it. I would have gone into it right then and there. My stuff is so quick. And you guys, most of this can be really quick. The first time I discovered this was when I was just trying to do regular EFT, and regular EFT is often about calming. I'm feeling angry, like acknowledging and calming. I'm feeling angry, but I love myself even though I'm angry. I'm letting go of this anger. And then I just lost it. And I just started yelling all these crazy things. I actually didn't yell them because my kids were behind the door because I was having a moment. So I was just like, and I felt so much better. Look, Wendy, you're like, oh my God, I just had a flashback of why I'm so scared to get what I want. It works. It works. It works. And until we go back to those places, you guys, our nervous system and our DNA will run the show. Our non-conscious creation will create 99.9% of what you're seeing in your world. Once we start doing this work, once you start using what's in your reality and the emotions that are coming up to getting to these origin stories and changing all of these things, then the world becomes your oyster, which I actually hate that expression because I don't like oysters. I'm like, the world becomes whatever it is you want it to be. The world becomes, but you know, oysters make pearls out of sand. So that's kind of the expression, right? Like you can like make anything out of anything. Like it really does. It becomes where you can make gold out of anything the world hands you. The world hands you a freaking ridiculous moment. You will turn that into freaking gold using this method. And then it will just get easier and easier and easier. Now, after you do this, so after we get to the core, just like Wendy did, she's having this flashback. My grandparents spoiled me as a kid and my cousins were always mad at me. And my aunt called me selfish. Okay, so this is perfect. This is a perfect example. Thank you, Wendy. So Wendy's going to tap on all this and be like, everyone thinks I'm selfish. I'm so selfish. I'm so selfish. I don't like me if I'm selfish. People don't love me if I'm selfish. People are always mad at me. I just don't want people to be mad at me. People won't like me if I get what I want. People won't like me if I get what I want, right? So she's going to use the RRT, the little cry emoji, to really get into this, to really go back to this and feel it all, and to not stop until it's out. And sometimes, guys, it can take 30 seconds. Sometimes it can take 2 minutes. Sometimes it can take a couple days, and it kind of just keeps showing up, right? Now, after she gets that out, then she's going to go to our last 3 steps of our 7-step formula, which is repatterning and recoding and creating that belief system, taking action, and then paying attention to the little things. So let's break that down. So repatterning and recoding. Well, that's the usual stuff. I call it anchoring in. That's the affirmations. That's the reprogramming of the nervous system. So we do this actually in our membership every freaking morning. It's called our daily dose. I go live in there and we repattern and recode something. So I'm always in there around money, time, health, like all sorts of stuff, getting more, all the things. And we're doing the things together to repattern. Now, the reason I like in our membership that we do it together is because part of how we operate as humans is we co-regulate, meaning that some of the things you learned, your nervous system learned, you co-regulated with your parents. And so often it makes it so much faster for you guys to reprogram and repattern and recode and re-regulate if you can do it with someone who's already done it. And so I'll often tell you guys to like feel into my nervous system. And those of you that show up in our, if I don't know if anybody's here, well, yes, a lot of you are here that do our daily dose. Like sometimes they'll even say, like, I'll say, feel into this in your nervous system. And like, how does it feel? Now feel into mine. And they'll be like, oh my God, that was like instant calming around this or instant safety around this. And I'm like, yes. And so then they can start taking that and learning how to self-regulate, right? Because the thing about this work and the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I want you to have your power. I want you to have your power. So much of the personal development space and our world in general is very dependency oriented, codependent. Like, I want you to feel like I'm the one, like, I'm going to give you the codes and I'm going to give you the energy for you to do this. Like, no, I want you to find that within yourself. But often you need an example first. Your only example might have been the people in your life and the collective consciousness, which stinks, so it's hard for you to often know or cultivate that without having someone to pattern that off of. So I love our daily dose in the membership. It was something that I kind of added intuitively because I knew that I needed it. That's really what had happened. Like, I started to be like, wait, I feel like I'm missing something. Like, in my stuff, when I had that whole wonkiness in 2022, I was like, what am I missing here? Why did this get wonky? And that was the piece I really realized, like, the constant of doing that. And so that's where we brought that into the membership, which I just adore it now. So we got to do that. So Wendy, after you get through this, now you want to create safety. So now you want to sit here and say things like this. When I get what I want, people adore me. And you want to self-soothe. When I get what I want, it's not only good for me, it's good for everyone around me. It's good for everyone around me. And the selfish one, what I always say, Wendy, is it's so safe to put myself first. It is so safe to put myself first. When I put myself first, good things happen for everyone, including the world. When I put myself first, good things happen for me, for the people who love me the most, and for this world. Like, I really cultivate that, like, me being selfish in a way, and not selfish like, I only care about me kind of thing, but really putting myself first and my wants first always works out the best for everyone. And guys, this is why and I'm going to talk about the membership here in a second. And this is why, I love the membership so much. And if it's something you are checking out, this is why it's so important, because like Wendy, as she goes through this, she has access to us to be able to post in the group and be like, this is what I just figured out. What are some affirmations? How do I recode this? And it's like, we're right here. She's saying, like, I'm writing it all down for me to be able to say, do this, say this, cultivate the safety. No, it's like an already space to get that beautiful affirmation that you need to be like, it is okay to be you. Most of us never hear that. That like, I believe in you and it's okay to be you. And it's not your fault. You're a good person. And so that's invaluable. I personally think our daily dose is like, that's worth the membership, because that's what you get every day. That reminder of like, you're special, you're good. Life gets to be good for you. And the world doesn't tell us that. The world tells us the opposite. And it makes it, we're always fighting that. Instead, we're able to cultivate that and anchor into that and plug into that instead of the other bullshit that's out there. Does it matter what side you tap on? So I suggest tapping on your right side. Your right side is your clearing side, your releasing side. But that being said, you got to do what feels best for you. Some people tap on both. We have a group of people that like the both tapping. I have people that tap on the right side for releasing. And then when they do the affirmations, they tap on the left side. I don't tap when I do the affirmations. Actually, I lie. Sometimes I do because it clears out anything that's in there. I tend to do the self-soothing like this. And now the other step to doing this, and this is, I'll keep using Wendy as an example because it's just such a great example, is then you want to create the belief systems around this. So let's say the couple things she's working on is, when I get what I want, it's good for everyone. So let's say that's our belief. When I get what I want, it's good for everyone. Now, what helps is to create a whole belief system around that's going to help support it. So if everybody loves me when I get what I want, or whatever, I can't remember what I just said. When I get what I want, everybody loves me, or the people I love the most love me, whatever it is. Okay, what are some beliefs that really support that? Well, when I get what I want, I'm celebrated. People want to give me what I want. When people in my life spoil me, I'm celebrated. Right? So we want to create, when I get what I want, people never think I'm selfish. I am an inspiration to people for going after what I want. I inspire others by being fully me and getting what I want. So then we create this whole belief system. And as you create this belief system, know that sometimes you're not going to believe it right away. Like you're going to create these things and be like, well, I don't believe that. I remember when I created my belief system for COVID and I was like, my business will grow more in COVID, more in 2020 than it ever has, right? Like that was like an affirmation I was working on. And one of my things I remember was people buy more than ever during a pandemic. Like that was like, and I remember like writing that down and being like, that's not even true. But it was true for us and it did work for us. And it was true for a lot of other people that believed that as well. And so once you create that belief system, then you often want to look and see where the beliefs against that are. So you can start using the RRT to tap them out. You found me mid-COVID. Yes. Good times. And then step 7, our last one is paying attention to the little things. So once Wendy's done this, cried her eyes out as she's doing now, started to anchor into the new, create that safety, right, with her nervous system, created the belief system around it, given focus to it, right? Now she's going to want to go out. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry. We're on step 6, not 7 yet. 6 is action. So now she's going to have to say, what actions support this belief system and this person that I want to be? What actions? What can I go do in the physical world? And sometimes you guys, we think we have to do these like grandiose actions. Like it means I must go invest $100,000 that I don't have. No, it could be something as simple as her going and buying herself something and telling everybody that she knows that she bought it so that she can see how they react and see if there's anything else rattling around, or going into or buying something that she's been putting off forever, that thing that she's just wanted to get, but she's felt so guilty about getting it. Go get it. Go buy it. To start shifting that energy into the new person that she is. And sometimes you ask yourself, if I believed all of this, this is what I often ask myself, if I believed all of this and I was this person, what would I be doing? And then I go do it. And then our last step, number 7, is paying attention to the little things. Because what's going to happen is we're trying to embody this new belief. So as Wendy over here is trying to embody this new belief, it's going to be a little wonky at first. Oh, wobbly, right? Sometimes it happens right away and it's like, bam, it's in, let's go. But sometimes it's a little wobbly as you're kind of rewiring, reprogramming, repatterning, and all of that. And so this is where you want to pay attention to the little things, the tiniest little things that invoke an emotion that are showing you where there might be something little to clean out. Yes, Corey, this is going to live on our YouTube channel, so you can just come right back to the YouTube channel and it'll be here, the replay. So think of like when I had the YouTube thing happen yesterday, that was a very little thing, right? I mean, I was on live 5 minutes after. It wasn't a big deal at all. That was a tiny little thing, but I freaking paid attention to it, you guys. I paid attention to it. I paid attention because it's a little thing. And if you pay attention to the little things, look, you guys, the universe, God, our co-creator loves us, is the nicest energetic thing out there. It wants to make our lives as easy as possible. It wants to make our lives as easy as possible, but we don't listen. And we aren't taught to listen to the little things. We're taught to let go of the little things, to not today, Satan, you're not getting me. I'm pushing through. Not Satan, it's you creating little tiny nuggets for yourself to evolve past so that the big ass universal slap across the face doesn't have to happen. And if you pay attention to these little things, you guys, the big honking icky things that you don't want don't come. And if they do come, you're able to ride them out real easily. It's like when a hurricane comes, does your house completely fall down and it takes you 4 years to recover? Or does the hurricane just pass your house by because you built a stable, good house and maybe got to go like fix the fence and that's it. That's what we want to happen. You're always going to be playing in this dual reality, right? I couldn't avoid the pandemic. I play in this reality even as I have my own reality. But I'm going to tell you this, the pandemic was a freaking breeze for me compared to what it was for other people. And it's not just because of like how I look and the money I had or whatever like that. That may have contributed to it somewhat, but it was also because of what I believed got to happen for me during this and my emotional resilience and my ability to use the small things to move through it in a different way. So life can be easy. You can look at this world and watch it falling apart and still have an easy life full of bliss. And it's not because of privilege, skin color, financials, or all of that. That's all things that definitely help, but it doesn't start with that because there's plenty of people with all of those things that are freaking hating life right now and not creating anything close to what they want. And so it's not the end all to be all. You can look anyway, be anyway, start from anyway, and still be able to do this. Okay, Corey, I'm going to give you the steps and then I'm going to talk about our membership. So, number 1, get real with your reality. What works? What doesn't? What needs to shift? What do you want? And you know, you might even want to reverse those. What do you want? And then let's get real with our reality. 3, using what's happening in life to see what emotions are there. 4, using the RRT to get to the origin story and get that frickin' thing out. 5, repatterning, recoding, and creating a system of beliefs. This is the anchoring in part. 6, action. After you've created that repattern, recoding, that belief system, if you believed all of that, what would you be doing? What actions would you be taking? And 7, paying attention to the little things. Now, I'm in the process of developing this really cool roadmap because I want to have like, if this happens, go back to step here. If this happens, go here to step this. Like I'm in this process of creating this cool roadmap, but it's not done yet. But it's going to be cool to kind of like troubleshoot when the step isn't working or things that are happening, or is it a trigger or a trauma response? If it's a trigger, go here. If it's a trauma response, go back, go to this step. And so that's coming. So stay tuned for that, but we're not there yet. And you know, Mary, I love that about Corey because, you know, Corey said, I can't buy anything. So what can I can't buy anything. So what can I do for myself that doesn't involve money? Well, you can start doing this. I've given you the steps. Start doing this now. Start. What do you want? Look at your reality. Start seeing the emotions that are coming up and start letting it out. Start doing this work. And like Mary said, start believing that you can buy stuff. I can buy anything. Because right now you have that belief in there. I can't buy anything myself anything. Well, let's change that. Maybe it's not feasible in this moment, but let's start saying you can. You can buy things for yourself. You can buy things for yourself. This is going to happen for you. What if we started believing that? What if we just started cultivating the belief? Because remember, guys, the how and the belief is never going to come. The how is never going to come before you believe it. We always want to say, how is this going to happen for me? But you're over here believing I can't buy anything for myself. So you're never going to see the how. So you got to start switching this and be like, okay, this gets to happen for me. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but this gets to happen for me. I get to buy things for myself. Yes, and exactly, Melissa. If I'm saying you can buy things for yourself and you want to scream, no, you can't, then scream it. Use me. You would definitely not be the first person that I've triggered the hell out of that used me to get their emotions out. I can't tell you the things we get from our people that are like, oh my God, you said this on a call and I like lost my shit. Now I feel so much better. Thanks. And that's the thing. The emotions aren't for the other person. There are some times where we need to sit down and have the hard conversations, but we still need to do the emotional work before. Okay, so let's talk about our membership because I want to invite all of you who are not already in it to come join us. We have a bonus price happening right now. What is our membership? It is a year-long container and space to do all of this, to have everything you need to create what you want in life, to create it financially, to create it health-wise, to create it relationship-wise, work-wise, business-wise, whatever it may be. It has all the components in there that you need for that full kind of life transformation that takes you to where you want to go. If you are somebody that feels like it hasn't worked for you yet, you're frustrated, maybe you've done the courses, you've read the books, you feel like you're missing something, you're looking at this membership being like, oh my God, I told myself I wouldn't do another membership, like this isn't the thing, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you right now, it is. It is. We have taken all of the things that all the other stuff in the world is missing. We have added it to our membership. We have put it in the most beautiful, amazing way so that you have everything you need to get what you want. It has the courses, our foundational course that teaches you all of this really detailed, but then further courses on money, courses on parenting, courses on body, courses on all sorts of things. And we highlight these courses throughout the year. So different courses, I add different live components throughout the year. The next one we are going into is Get It Done. And this is one of my favorite courses. It's all about getting the shit you want in life done so you can get the stuff you want, right? Get it done. We're going to be talking about the get it done energy, how to get into it, how to get the things we want in life. We're going to have accountability pods, all sorts of cool stuff. That's our next one that's coming in June that we're going to be doing. Right now, we're kind of in this process of clearing out our stuff from money, power, and sex. So right now we got a bunch of stuff going on there around money, our wealth code, which is our signature course around money. We just did a great heal event around really healing those big things around money, getting them out. It is just so robust in there. We also have our daily dose, which I kind of talked about, where every morning I am going live to help you anchor in and repattern and co-regulate and really do that. That I think is the most amazing, special part of it. We have live Q&A calls with the team every week. You also can book a one-on-one call with one of our practitioners starting at $30. So you can have a whole one-on-one call for $30. $30, because we know sometimes you need that. Now, the membership, we have an amazing deal for you. We've wanted to make this as affordable as we're able to as a business for you guys so that we can make money and keep going, and you guys can get in here and not feel like, oh my God, I have to spend $10,000 to get to where I want to go. We never want it to feel like that. So the regular pay in full price is $997, but we are doing $200 off for the next 48 hours. So you can join us for $797 for an entire year. $797 for an entire year, guys. This doesn't exist anywhere else. Like, and it's funny because when I switched to this model, I remember my husband being like, what are you doing? You sell all these courses for thousands of dollars each. Like one person ends up spending like $10,000 by the time they go through all this. Like, why would you switch to this? And I said, because I just want to. Like, I want to. I see what the human needs to get back to themselves, to find their power and to create what they want. And I don't want it to be like this anymore where they have to spend tens of thousands of dollars and all of this stuff. I want it to be there for them, be there when they need it, be there. Like, I wanted to create something that I knew you needed. And after working in this industry for a long time, I was able to see the holes. I was able to see the holes in our own business. And with our memberships, it's always getting better in there. We now offer breath work. So now twice a month, we do deep breath work so that if there's something that's really rattling around in there that you can't get to, we do the breath work so that we can really move that energy out. We are always adding to it. It is always getting better and better. There is literally nothing like it out there. And I am just on a rampage of getting as many beautiful members in here as possible, because I know that this is not only what you need, but this is what the world needs. When you look at the world and you see how we're unable to move forward, it's because we're missing this piece. We're missing this understanding, and it has it all in there so that you can get that full life transformation and start getting what you want and have the ripple effect throughout your family and the world. Now, if you're not ready to do the $797 price, we also have a monthly payment. You can do 12 months at $85 a month. So, that's like less than $3 a day, guys. So like, just don't go to Starbucks and instead spend the money with us on your personal growth and your ability to create what you want in life. Because, I often see that with people where we can be so short-sighted as humans, right? Where we're like, oh, I don't want to give up this. I really want this, but ooh, where it's like, what if you did this and in a couple months you were making double what you were making and now you could have both because you cleaned out the resistance to having both. You got to the origin stories around all this stuff rattling in your brain. And all of a sudden there wasn't a sacrifice for you to do this program. You had to jump in. You had to do the action. Remember, sometimes it takes that action. You want something different. Sometimes you got to make that step. So I invite you to join us. I would love, love, love to have all of you in here. We have some members on here that are talking about the Kundalini Tantric Hara Hara for prosperity combined with Sarah's lessons completely changed my relationship with money and value. You have some people on here that are, just saying how much they love our membership. Elizabeth says, I know I want the membership, just don't know when. I hope it's soon. I would say the number one thing I always hear from people when they join our membership is they're like, oh my God, why did I wait so long? Because we do tell you how to do this. Like, Corey, if it's not available to you right now, I get that. That's why I wanted to give you the 7 steps. And I want you to start trying this. And we have a lot of other free resources out there. Go to our, our website, heyyou.com. There's a lot of free resources. Get on our Hey You Human app. There's a lot of resources just in the free stuff, and we're constantly adding more. So we have a lot of free resources, but at the end of the day, there's just nothing like the membership. There's so much stuff on there. It's really formulated. It's like a roadmap for you to really get there. So I know they have been dropping the links. So the links right here. There's the $200 off. And then there's the $85 a month. We also right now, you guys, we are about to launch the next round. Then get in here, Elizabeth. If you need it, then come on in, girl. Stop holding back. You can figure it out. You would not be the first person that took the leap, didn't know about the money, and ended up having total life transformation pretty darn quick. So I invite you to come join us. I hope it's soon. I also want to mention to you guys that we're about to launch our next round of certification as well. It's going to start in June. So we certify people in the rapid relief technique. We have 2 levels, level 1, which is really about the technique, and then level 2, which is really about human development. So it's really building more on really helping people understand how to have their best human life in all sorts of different capacities, really going deep into the client practitioner relationship. It's really, really robust. We're launching that in June, but right now we are in pre-sale. So if you have ever been somebody who is interested in getting certified, or you are loving this right now and you're like, oh my God, I want to bring this into my business, or whatever it may be, it's at about 50% off right now. Yeah, you're called to spread this like wildfire. I love it. I love it. It's about 50%, maybe even more. I think our level 1 is about 50% off. Yeah, I think it's all at 50% off right now for pre-sale until we go into our full launch, which will be in 2 weeks. So that's on the checkout page too. You can add it to your membership if you are ready to do that and want to get the literally deal of a lifetime on our certification. I would do it now. And then that will start in June. We're going to do our next round, and then you have a year to be certified. So you have a little bit of time if you can't jump in right away with us. So get in here. Let's do it. Let's do it together. It's always more fun with friends. Come join us for a year. Let's work together to create a reality that you are just so in love with. You're going to look back a year from now and literally be like, best decision I ever made. And you'll probably say for another year, because most our people just keep staying, because we realize that we're always fighting against this other reality. And so we got to create something for ourselves that we can lock into and continue to grow and flourish and continue on that expansion, so that it's not the constant ups and downs. So if you have any questions at any point, yes, go ahead and drop a comment here, or you can always email at support@heyyouhuman.com. I will tell you that with our certification right now on the checkout, it's just a pay in full option. If you need payment plan options, if you really want the certification at this early bird price and you need payment plan options, just email us at support@heyyouhuman.com. Also, if you are in a country that has a huge discrepancy between US dollars and your dollars, like Turkey, Sudan, India, we had some of these people on here, a lot of our Middle Eastern countries, a lot of our Asian countries, where it's, your cost of living is like so different than ours, and $85 a month is like, what you spend in like a 2-week period to live, basically. Please email us. We have a lot of different rates for different areas of the world. That doesn't count for like Europe and Canada. You guys are pretty much similar in our that, but obviously if you're somewhere like Ukraine right now, or Russia, or some of these countries that are having really hard moments, like, please let us know, because we're happy to kind of do more of a scale with your cost of living, so that 85 feels more like it should for your country of origin. All right. Well, thank you, beautiful humans, for joining me for these amazing 3 days. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you had a lot of aha moments. I hope that you are going to come join us in our membership. If you aren't, I sincerely hope that you are going to give the 7-step formula a try. You are going to start with the tapping. This truly is a lifestyle, you guys. It's like we're always evolving as humans. And so you're going to get here and you're going to want something more. And so it's going to be, ooh, let's get this out so I can go here. It's a constant evolution. And that's why we love to have you with us in our community and in our membership, so that we can continue to do this work together. But if not, I hope you take this away and just start doing it on your own, and then come join us when you are ready. My goal, I feel like everybody just come into our community. If you want to come find us on our app at Hey You Human, come find our Hey You Human app, come join us in the free community. And also come catch us live here on YouTube every Wednesday at 11, where we do our weekly wake up. And other than that, I have had a blast with you guys. Thanks for all of your love and all of your interaction. And yeah, we shall see you soon. What else? I'm like, where else should I tell you to follow? Oh, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. I am at I am Sarah Longoria. We also have at Hey You Human and at the Rapid Relief Technique. So you can get lots of tips and tricks on all of that good stuff. All right, beautiful humans. I love you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And I can't wait to welcome all our new members into the membership. We are going to have so much fun. We have so many amazing things coming up for you. I can't wait. Can't wait. All right, guys. I shall see you soon.